Yo, JD here, and as you can see by the title of this video, we are going to be talking about the ERS system, which is newly introduced in the F1 games and obviously in the real season as well. And I think, in my opinion, it's probably the most important factor in terms of succeeding in not only your career modes but also online and just being an all-round good player as well, because you can be a very good driver or pilot or whatever you want to call it, but if you do not know how to deploy the ERS, and then you might as well not go into league racing or expect to do very well at all, because it can really hinder you, and almost up to over a second a lap difference if you do not know how to do it efficiently and properly. And that's what we'll be talking about in this video. But for this lap here, we're going to go through a number of laps, the first being completely with hot lap, no fuel at all. So when I mean no fuel, I just mean leaving it in standard mix completely. We're just going to go in hot lap the entire lap, and there's a few reference points that I want you to know in comparison. We're going to compare hot lap with overtake, and because those are the two main ones that you will be using, you don't really need to consider medium or high or anything at this point. And we'll also be comparing a no ERS at all, and just to see what the actual difference is. So go hitting this Pirelli sign here, we're hitting 290 kilometers per hour, and I'm using kilometers per hour because I know most of the audience are running kilometers per hour. But going through here now, hot lap in a nutshell, it doesn't use as much ERS as overtake, and you may think that's completely strange and it might not really make any sense. It's the fifth setting, it must use more ERS than overtake, and that's not the case. It actually distributes the ERS much more efficiently than overtake, whereas overtake is actually quicker in a straight line. And you may notice my hot lap I did yesterday at Silverstone, and you will notice when I do my league races and stuff as well, where I'll be doing probably another video talking about how to really save it as much as possible and how to use it in a league race situation. You can see coming through here, as we hit this green sign above, that's going to be our reference point. We hit 317 kilometers per hour, about touching, just about scraping 319 kilometers per hour. But we'll be talking about when to use it and why necessarily using hot lap the entire lap may not be completely useful, and how much you can save throughout a lap, because if you can save ERS, your overall race time is going to be much quicker, believe me. But now we'll go run in overtake mode, which actually uses, as I said, more ERS, which you think is probably hard to believe. And something you also notice, which I forgot to mention at the end of that last lap, we just lost ERS at the end of the lap, towards just before the last corner. We lost ERS. It comes up with an X at the bottom right, and the way that works, which I've only really just discovered myself as well, is that you can only deploy 100, I'm going to say, points of ERS, 100% of ERS per lap, as we hit this little reference point again, 290 kilometers per hour once again. But you can only deploy 100 ERS per lap, and you may think, oh, well, you didn't deploy 100 because you still had about 40 ERS left on the bottom right. And how does that work? The way it works is that if you deploy 50, if you use 50, so say if you're going complete straight line, you go from 100 to 50% ERS. If you go on the brakes and just save enough ERS to get back to 100 again, and then you go on the throttle again and use another 50, you will actually run out, because you've actually used 100 points of that. It doesn't matter at all unless the whole lap, it just allows you to use 100. So hopefully that makes sense to you. It's how much you actually deploy and save, and then you just kind of have to do a little maths equation. But we're using 320 kilometers per hour now going down the straight. So overtake mode is much more beneficial from gears probably 6 to 8 in my opinion. I use it from gear 5 just to make sure it kicks in the time. But you can see now the ERS again has run out towards the end of the lap itself. But now we're going to compare no ERS at all, and just to see how much of a deficit that's going to be. And if you didn't notice, the lap time was 4/10 difference. The hot lap was actually better than the overtake mode. And around different tracks, it's going to be different depending what kind of track it is. If it's like Hungary, then hot lap will probably be more beneficial to use. But if it's Spa or Monza, for example, overtake mode is something you want to be using much more, and then trying to save the ERS corners by running low, medium, or even maybe turning off, because you can see here This lap wasn't the best lap, it's a little bit scruffy, but again, you'll be able to see how much of a difference it actually makes if you're not running any ERS at all. And I also can confirm that ERS is more powerful than running fuel. If you run rich fuel, which I think we're going to show again after this lap as well, so there's many comparisons here. If you run rich fuel compared to standard, you gain about 4/10 a lap, so it's not really that significant. However, if you run no ERS, so if you're in a situation, a league race situation where you've been busting your balls to try and get out someone's DRS and you've completely expended your DRS, or ERS, and you're on 0 and you have to go on the next lap pretty much saving it the whole time, this hopefully will show you a little bit of an example of how much time you're expecting to lose here. So coming off this last corner, still maintaining the 100 bar because we've already selected none. Going through this last corner now, and the lap's been fairly okay, a little scruffy, but I feel pretty quick. Coming across here, we've done a 33.5, that's 1.3 seconds slower. And now we're going to combine the two. How much more of an advantage are you going to have? So we did a 32.2 with hot lap mode, which in my opinion is probably, you can't really go wrong with that mode at all. It just redistributes ERS equally throughout the whole lap, and I think in my opinion you're best off to leave that in as much as possible, and even online as well. And when you're trying to catch someone, I think overtake is only really necessary when you're actually the word it says, overtaking someone. When you're in someone's slipstream and you need an extra bite of slipstream or a bit more straight line speed, then just that extra burst of straight line speed, sorry. I think overtake mode is very beneficial then, but if you're using hot lap, I think you can just use that throughout most of the corners when you're not actually trying to overtake someone yet. You're going to save more ERS and it's just going to be better distributed, just more efficient in the lap itself, and doesn't create as much wheel spin. For me, it just definitely is probably faster overall most of the time. Because see, running here through now, this is a pretty nice lap using the fuel and the hot lap together at the same time. Coming off this corner, trying to get a very nice exit, a slingshot corner, which I always describe quite often in F1 games, where you go slow in, fast out. Coming through here now, we'll be able to see what the speed is going to be as we hit this green sign above the track, and you can see not really too different from standard hot lap. So that just again shows you how powerful the ERS is, and fuel is not really as important as you think on this game at all. Fuel helps more with acceleration than it does with the actual top speed. So coming through here now, coming across the line, run out of ERS, and we've done a 31.8, so that's about 3 to 4 temps faster than we did when we just use standard fuel mix at all. So I think fuel, in my opinion, definitely helps with acceleration, but ERS is king on this game. You need to be focusing more on that than actually your fuel mix at all. And you can run rich and ERS at the same time, again, if you want to just overtake someone, but in my opinion, you don't really need to be using rich too much in this game at all. But again, from a standing start, we're just having another example of how much we're actually using and how fast we're going down the straight. We hit a 317 kilometers per hour then and used about 30% of the ERS here. But now we're going overtake mode, trying to get a goodish start coming through here. We'll be able to see what our max speed again is coming through this here. So again, I think overtake mode is just definitely quicker in a straight line towards the end of the gears. So coming through here now, 317, we've just passed that because it's gone a couple kilometers quicker, and we used about, on this time, about 35% of our ERS in that one go as well. So hopefully that is just a little explanation. I think hot lap, it again is probably best to be used when you're actually racing, not in qualifying. But overtake, I think, is just better on the straights, mixed with hot lap as well. So most of the time you want to be using hot lap, but only overtake on the straights. Through the corners, you want to be using hot lap, but overtake only from gears 6 to 8 when you've got a fairly long straight, because sometimes going too fast into the corner, even though you're going very quick on the straight line, you're going to have to brake earlier, and it can actually disrupt the momentum of your lap time of your car going through the corner, and it may not actually be as beneficial to you. So hopefully you've understood that. Any questions, I will hopefully go through, or I plan to go through them, so ask away and leave a like if you enjoyed this. Be doing many more videos soon. Peace.